Welcome to the Neighborhood Watch Party podcast with George, James, and Drew. While we may essentially just be fans of the sport, we passionately debate it weekly and have recorded it here for your viewing pleasure. Check out our social media in the description to find us on other platforms. Please enjoy. Hello, everybody. I know we might have promised you an extra live episode, but due to unfortunate circumstances, we have been separated once more and brought back to the realm of Discord. But we've got another packed week of NFL action. But before we get into that again, we are once again sadly going to be starting the podcast on a more somber note. It's been a rough couple of weeks in the NFL for tragedy, but I don't think it was ever seen anything particularly as rough as the most recent injury that happened on the Monday night game this week. Our thoughts and prayers are definitely out with Damar Hamlin, and everyone around the league is definitely putting it out there as well. While certain people might have had some more controversy than others regarding the response, the general response is now that we understand the severity of the situation, and we hope that he's able to get better and maybe even back on the field one day. I've not heard many updates in terms of his condition. I know his family members have been speaking a lot. It sounded like his status was getting a little better. I know they said they at least took him down from 100% oxygen dedication to 50%. So that's at least improving slightly from my understanding, and that was yesterday when I heard that. So hopefully his condition is still getting better. We're going to drop the link to his charity in our link below. So if you are indeed watching this and you have any extra things to contribute to that, it's definitely a big thing. His charity's been going really good this past couple of weeks in the wake of this crisis. I think I heard a couple days ago that I think he'd already raised $6 million for what he's going out for. So big things are really happening, and we're really using this as a moment to sort of gather around the teams. The big thing for me is I saw all the different stadiums with their images of Damar up in there. And so seeing Damar's name up in Cleveland, up in Washington, up in Pittsburgh, for us, down in Jacksonville, down in all these different stadiums, it's important. And it's real good that he is improving, but we're going to keep our thoughts and prayers with him every day, I think. Yeah, I don't know if there's much more to say regarding that situation from the rest of the boys, but I didn't get to watch the game live, so I don't know if you guys want to speak a little bit more on that one.
Yeah, I was watching it live. It's unprecedented, whether you argue it's happened before or not, in modern times and in such a routine play. And it's sad to think about. It's hard to think about. It's scary to think about. I know one of my buddies texted me almost immediately. He's like, George, I don't know if I want my kids to play football ever again after watching that. And it's that play and this injury is going to have that kind of impact on the world, and we're all praying for Damar, and we all hope he can recover. And one thing I do want to send a prayer up for T. Higgins too. He was the player that collided with Damar on the play. He's received a lot of hate online, saying it's his fault. Damar's family's actually been outraged by that, saying it's not T's fault. There's a routine football play, but you could only imagine the guilt he's feeling right now, especially the internet not helping anything out. So send a prayer for T. Higgins too. And we just hope Damar, nothing would make the world happier than seeing Damar recover fully. And he has the whole force of the world behind him. And the sports world's a wide community, and everyone's praying for him and looking out for him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% reciprocate the sentiments that George and I just talked about. We all just hope that Damar gets better, that he's able to hopefully that he's able to fully recover. Obviously, we have no idea at this point in time whether that's possible or not, but we're hoping. Yeah, and like George said, obviously a lot of people are impacted by this. T. Higgins especially, because like George said, he was doing a routine play. He didn't do it. It wasn't a dirty hit. It wasn't anything like that. He just ran into the guy, and Damar Hamlin hit him. T. Higgins hit him. They both went down. It wasn't anything dirty. It just happened. So thoughts out for T. Higgins as well. I'm sure he's dealing with a lot. And then obviously thoughts and prayers out to the entire, Bills and Bengals teams. I mean, they had to witness that live. And I mean, watching someone, I mean, his heart did stop. So he was medically dead, I think twice. I think his heart stopped twice. And so, I mean, watching someone die, it's never happened to me, but like I can only imagine the magnitude of something like that. And I think this also kind of puts a lot of perspective into like the importance of sports, but also I think it also puts a lot of perspective into like how how damaging these sports can be, right? Like, I mean, they are dangerous sports. They're a lot. Football especially is one of the most violent sports you can play. I mean, obviously it's not professional fighting or it's not rugby, but it's, you can people sustain a lot of injuries, and this is one of the risks. So I think it's important to for people to understand, kind of like George is saying, how your friend said, "Oh, I don't know if I want my kids to play football after this." I think it's just really important to keep that in perspective. That these guys are amazing for what they do. They go out there and play a game we all love, but they really are putting their lives on the line. I think it's important to give them respect, especially now, considering a lot of them are going to go out next week and play after just watching one of their own almost die. So yeah, I think like we all said at the beginning, hopefully Damar recovers. Hopefully he's okay, and thoughts and prayers out to him.
Yeah, no, it's a scary situation, and like George said, very much, especially in contemporary times, unprecedented. There was only one other player that's ever had a similar situation, and it was a real long time ago. Definitely not in the eyes of young fans like George and I. I mean, this was back in the 70s. I think it's pretty obvious the NFL needs to do some more. I mean, I think there's already been a focus on being forward medically, but I think that's going to come a lot more now, especially given that this wasn't even like a dirty hit, like you said. It was just a wide receiver on quarterback tackle. Like it's the unfortunate part about it.
Routine play. And another big thing is I've seen people starting to talk about all the concussion stuff when they start talking about this, and yes, that's important, but that has nothing to do with this.
Oh, I agree. No, it's just
there's life-changing injuries in football that aren't concussion related. But we're going to try to get back and do our normal episode. It's going to be hard. We're going to come back to this and maybe talk a little bit more about it.
We're probably going to keep things quick, though, today, honestly. It's just...
we're going to try to run here.
And so the big thing, we definitely start each show off. We'll try to keep it a little bit uniform in that way, just updating everyone where we are on our scoreboard. We all actually did wager a normal pick on that Cincy-Bengals game. Or, excuse me, Buffalo-Cincy game. And so I think we could just scratch it or add one. But either way, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we can just scratch it. It's fine.
And so James also loses his Niners and Carolina pick, but picks up the Dallas pick and his Jaguars pick for 4 points. George also went 2-3, getting his Browns in the Giants money lock that I wanted oh so badly. I just wanted to point out, George, I did say that there was a game on here that was a trap game for you last podcast, and the Saints did turn out against Eagles here. I told you, I had that feeling that this was a trap game, and it just...
I mean, I'm honestly more surprised Carolina lost.
That too, yeah.
They had that game.
Yeah.
They had that game, and they just choked it away.
But
James, speaking of line switching, I know that was a little bit of a live controversy last week.
It did not affect...
If we would have got the line... No, but if we would have took the line, the line got all the way to 14.5. Because that's what me and my godfather took right before the game started. The Cowboys won by 14. So you got your line. We take the lines live as we record the episodes for the Dallas Titans. But
if you would have kept the live one,
on the biggest line up to the start of the game, it wouldn't have hit. But it did hit. You got it on the episode, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I mean, I had a better line beforehand, but yeah, sure.
I'm just saying is the Cowboys ended up not covering the spread.
You know, I did a little...
I mean, they covered the spread that I bet, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm saying your bet's good. I'm just letting you know.
Here's my thing, though. I managed to pick a point up on Georgie. I get my Miami pick right. I get my Steelers. And give me that Broncos country riding all the way. Give me Russell Wilson in a 12.5 point spread. Any day of the week, I will take it. I will take it, and I will gladly rake it in. Because that man is over the toilets. That man is beat him.
That was he officially over the
He's
toilet.
officially beat him.
It took 17 weeks of an NFL season, but he has beaten the toilet.
Oh, the Russell Wilson trade might be one of the worst of all time. I mean, he could. Maybe he'll prove us wrong next year, but
maybe we could do this for an episode in the off season. We look at all the trades from last year and see how they panned out.
Oh, well, that was.
Dude, it's so funny to think about this though, because I thought about this, like, as bad as the Carson Wentz trade was, it's not even that bad compared to like how bad the Colts and Denver fucked up this year.
Yeah. Well, that's
QB moves have not been great this year.
Yeah, no, but my Rams got obliterated. I thought Baker was going to play a little more football.
Dude, the Chargers are legit, man.
Yeah, they're warming up. I was a little cold on them.
At the right time. And I've been low on the Chargers all year. I was low on them preseason, and I'm going to stay low on them because I don't think Justin Herbert has that it. I think Joe Burrow has that it. I think Justin Herbert.
I didn't know George was blind.
He could potentially be a better quarterback than Joe Burrow.
He reminds me a lot of Ben.
But Joe Burrow has that it.
Sure, but that's my point is he reminds me a lot of Ben. Ben was never the best player in the league, best quarterback, but you knew Ben could get the job done. And that's what I feel like you feel about Justin Herbert. He feels reliable.
Justin Herbert's also talented.
That's what I'm saying. He is reliable. He is consistent.
No, there was a narrative about him. I think it was like a year or two ago. Someone wrote a story about this that like his throwing motion was just so uniform and just never changed that sometimes it would F up because sometimes it would just be too predictable and he couldn't alter his throws. So he had to like actually learn how to like not have the same exact motion every time. It was so funny because he was throwing the ball so well, but his coach was like, dude, you gotta like change.
They know where it's going.
Patty Mahomes throwing the ball left-handed behind his back. Patty Mahomes did a little layup flip 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
he caught one. Yeah. He pulled a Mariota and got a first down off a pass to himself.
Oh, did he?
He did. He got it. He got a Mariota self catch.
That's incredible
for a first down too. Like,
I thought that Joe Burrow swagger just.
Joe Burrow has that edge. Joe Burrow has that edge.
Like Justin Herbert never sniffed a national championship in college. Justin Herbert hasn't gotten into the playoffs yet. Now he's in his third year in the league, and now he's going to finally get in this year. But let's see what he does.
I mean, bro, like you're basically being like you can't like say that like he never sniffed the college playoff. Like, dude, his program wasn't as good. That LSU team is the best team ever, like arguably one of the best teams ever composed.
But that Justin Herbert Oregon team was consistently top 10 year in and year out, and never choked in the pack.
And top 4 teams make it, bro. Like that's not like a good comparison. If you want to make the playoff thing, that's fine.
I know Joe Burrow's team was insanely good. Justin Herbert was on a really good team too, but Joe Burrow went and sliced through Nick Saban, Kirby Smart in the SEC, while Justin Herbert was
let's remember who Joe Burrow was throwing to. Jay Jettas, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
No, T. Higgins went to Clemson. He was, but like
I thought there's someone else. Devontae. It's somebody like that.
It was Randy Moss's son, Thaddeus Moss.
No, there's another big name in the league. 1 minute, I gotta look it up now.
I think maybe Hayden Hurst. No.
I don't know, but like anyway, I don't think the college point's fair. If you want to like blame him for his second year not making it. All right, even though he had one of like his best statistical seasons last year, like
Joe Burrow wins. Justin Herbert plays good football and loses. That's just what I've seen so far. Something about
Joe Burrow's going to be in the playoffs twice, and Justin Herbert's about to be in the playoffs once. So it's a difference of 1, George. It's not that crazy.
Justin Herbert has a whole season on him.
We're talking a lot of Herbert quarterback talk for the betting portion of this.
Me and James love getting into Herbert.
But where we stand at now Excuse me.
I'm the dead last.
Yep. Sorry, James. You're still at 14. Niter is at 19.
Oh no, it's impossible for me to win, but I can
And
at
then
least make it the
George-
second possibly.
And well, no. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And
Unless
then
we
George
take
at
it into the
22.
playoff.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to be taking this into the playoffs.
Yeah, we could just like make less bets.
There's
maybe.
not a lot of games, so maybe we'll make them worth 2
We'll do, like,
points in like 3
yeah,
games or something.
yeah,
We'll figure it out.
something
like Yeah.
And then, yeah, but George is at 22, so it's still, especially if we count playoffs, it's anybody's game. But we can start getting into last week's games. And I think the big thing we want to start with, especially that we started the podcast with, is this Bills-Bengals game. Especially because they're just it. Ultimately, we've already talked a lot about the injury. So I guess where would we like to guide the conversation around it now? So because there's definitely other implications of this game, but I don't want to just talk the implications of the game because, again, I'm not trying to skip Bayless here. Not trying to mince my words and kill the podcast. Let me clarify too. I think the game should have been suspended. Oh God, let me stop.
Yeah, so we got into this a little before the episode. I think the game was properly suspended. I think at some point a rule book's not going to guide you everywhere you need to go in a situation like this. The coaches use their best judgment, their discretion. Apparently, there was a team captains meeting between the Bills and the Bengals inside the locker rooms, where the same sentiment of shared is we can't go back on that field right now until we know how Damar is.
No, and I think that's fine. My point is, I think I'm honestly, I think that is the way it should be done. I think the team captains should be the decision makers.
That's actually exactly what happened. The team captains from the Bills and the Bengals got together.
No, and if that's what happened, I'm fine. I think that should be the rule though, because my point was the Tua injury.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was also a point though. I'm pretty sure there was also a point though where like the coaches and the refs had a meeting and like McDermott was like, I think there was is a quote of him being like, I need to be at the hospital with Damar, and so like he was also like integral there. So I mean, I think it comes down to like team captains and coaches at that point. Like I think.
Oh, that's whatever whatever happened. I think we're talking more. What should the protocol be? Because when I look at Tua, I look at coaches and medical professionals who most definitely knew that it was bad for him to continue. But because they wanted to keep winning the game and have a better chance, they put him back out there.
What's the difference between? Well, here's where you got to draw a difference. It's between the game continuing and between a player continuing. When it comes to a player continuing, you have to use your medical personnel. NFL games now have a full panel of third-party medical personnel on top of the team medical personnel. When it comes to an individual player, you have to use that medical personnel and their expert opinion. And if that opinion's wrong, that's why they're practicing medicine, not doing it. When it comes to a situation like this, where the players are so visibly shooken that they don't want to continue the game. Now, here's an interesting situation. What if Cincinnati said, "Nah, we want to keep going"? Like Buffalo was obviously a little more shaken up in the situation because it was their teammate, their guy.
That's sort of what I'm worried about, is if we leave it up to this subjective discussion, somebody could say, I want the game to go on for less than optimal reasons.
What if Zach Taylor said, "Oh, your guy got injured. That's terrible. I'm praying for him. I hope he does well, but we got a game to play."
But that's my point. That's why it feels like there needs to just be a rule. There needs to be a rule. If this happens, game over.
But what are you going to do? Make a different rule for every situation and injury? I mean, this situation was so unprecedented.
I mean, again, it could be like I said. If a player goes to the hospital, game over.
Oh, but a player could go to a hospital for a torn ACL.
Sure, and if the player goes to the hospital for not a bone break or muscle tear or something like that.
I mean, I guess like not to play devil's advocate, but like during the Ohio State Georgia game, Cade Stover did go to the hospital for back spasms, which I mean could be from a number of issues, but like.
But this is sort of my issue.
Even like
So I mean, if you want to define it as like a life, I think
a life-threatening. Yeah,
I think you define it as like a life-threatening injury, where like it's life-threatening. Like there are probably a good amount of injuries like over the years. Like we talked before about the Ryan off
Shazier.
podcast about the
I
Ryan
think Shazier's injury was life-threatening, though. Like I would say that.
I don't think his quote unquote his quality of life was threatened. His future was threatened.
I mean, if you want, I mean,
I don't think
also
his
like if
organ function was threatened.
I mean, like
dude, if your spinal cord's severed, like you could die. Like
the spine is what connects your brain to everything else.
Yeah, okay. I agree. We talked about it before. I do think the Ryan Shazier was another situation where the game could have been canceled. It's just to draw out that rule. It's like
I think like you determine like where you draw the line is like if this is a like clear like obviously like there's like a player reaction because it's a life-threatening injury. And then you have a meet like you take like I don't know like however long of a break, whatever to discuss it. And then, like if it's I think the line is like if it's a life-threatening injury, that's when you probably suspend the game and you move it.
Sure, but my point is I'm fine with this being the standard too, because I think like things happen at football games that bring grief or really shock that average football players should not have to deal with, especially when we're talking about like 19-year-olds coming to the league now, right? Like we got to remember some of the people playing football on TV are younger than us. Like
that's true, 100%.
And so my thing is the one example my dad brought up that really resonated with me was he was at a Yankees game once, and someone like 3 sections over from him fell off of the like upper deck of Yankee Stadium and fell to their death. And like the game got stopped for like an hour because the players on the field were like freaking out, obviously, as you would if like something like that happened. But my point is then, would that be enough to warrant a similar stoppage in an NFL game in our eyes? Because like I think that's just as serious of a thing, especially when we talk about Bronco. Like, is it Broncos the 12th man? Who's the Seattle 12th man? Seattle. Yeah. Like,
I mean, no, I think if like you watch a fan fall onto the field and like as you said in this instance.
Well, I don't even know if it was on the field. Like I think it was into the concourse, but like they were replaying it on the jumbotron, and yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that's bad off by the Yankees to do that anyway. Like you don't do that. I mean, I think ESPN did a great job of not replaying the hit over and over again. They were really good about Damar's injury. But yeah, like I think when like you have a life-threatening issue at like a stadium like that, and especially in that instance where like it's like seen by literally everyone there.
Yeah.
Like you probably suspend that game.
And that's my point. Is I think I'm perfectly fine establishing that as the norm.
That's why I want to leave it up to the discretion of the coaches and players. So because let's be honest, that game was continuing to be played, and
if we leave it up to the coaches and players, what happens when you get that one like James Harrison dude who does not care and is here to play football?
Well, how about this?
It's got to be like a majority vote. Like that's what I'm like. What are we doing here? I'm not trying to joke about it, but like it. I really don't want to leave it up to coaches and players because
it's a serious issue.
It's what you really need. If say in this Bills Bengals game situation, Sean McDermott was like, "Yes, we can't play. I need to go to the hospital and be with Damar." And say Zach Taylor was like, "I'm sorry, your guy got hurt. This is an important game." What you do is, if Sean McDermott says we're not playing the game, you cancel the game, and then you take it to the NFL's senior board, and Roger Goodell and his people look at the game and say, well, this decision warranted by Sean McDermott.
Oh, no. I don't know if I want to leave it up to Roger either.
I think Roger Goodell kind of gets a bad rap.
Yeah, he does.
He sucks, but not as bad.
I think he does. Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that's the way to solve that issue. I think in 99% of situations, just like Zach Taylor did, he was compassionate, he was understanding, he was right in the mix of all the discussions, and he said, yes, we're canceling the game. But in that one freak situation where the coach decides he wants to be an a-hole, I think that's a way to solve it.
Yeah, maybe. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're just spitballing. We have no actual control over
No,
anything.
and that's
So, like,
true.
whatever. So yeah, whatever we decide doesn't really matter. I think what's important, though, we all agree, is like that, like in these types of situations, the health of the player, or
Yeah.
in the case you brought up, Night, or the fan, is the most important thing, and
Safety
that
and
should be
well-being.
treated. Yeah, safety and well-being of the people on the field and the fans, obviously, because I didn't
everyone
actually know
there.
about that Yankees thing, but yeah, that's the most important thing, and that should take precedence
No,
over
and
a
this,
game.
especially too, when we start looking outside of sports, that's where I think it gets even scarier, because if the NFL has had a player die on the field before and the game didn't stop. NASCAR and F1 races, oh geez, those are terribly dangerous.
Yeah.
And
No,
so when
yeah,
I look at all these other things and they don't stop those, I mean, I get that the one where like the NASCAR guy died, it was like the last lap, so they really wanted to finish it, I guess. But like, I think in all sports, no matter, not even talking football, I think the lives of the people competing and the people watching and everyone in the area should be put first.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I mean, I'm just trying to think of like similar incidents. I don't remember if this game was stopped because I don't think I was. Um, I don't remember what year this was. There was a NHL game where I think it was the goalie or one of the players like a skate hit his throat.
I've heard of that. I've seen
He
that.
didn't
Yeah.
die. He actually
Yeah, no, he didn't die. But yeah, that was
but,
terrifying.
like, yeah, no, that might. I mean, the Damar thing may be worse than it, because I mean the Damar thing was like in recent memory, but like that was bad too. I don't remember if they stopped the game or not, but I remember thinking, like, as I was like learning about it, because like, I learned about it randomly, and like saw it happen. It was like, they should stop this game. Like, this is not
No,
good. I think they did, but I don't. But that's like a similar thing.
No, and that's the thing too. Especially when you start looking at like soccer and stuff, there are other players that have had to be even resuscitated on the field before, and they've kept the game going, and that just feels really unsafe. Like, that just feels like a bad precedent. Like.
Well, it's also like, I feel like if you're in a bad mental state and you're playing an extremely violent game, you're just everyone's more likely to get hurt because you're kind of like unconsciously like tensing up as you're about to get hit, or you're not going full on. Like, I feel like there's a lot more chances for injuries that happen if you're not mentally prepared. That's why, like, again, player safety and well-being should be the priority, because we don't want more people getting hurt. We don't want anyone getting hurt, but if it's going to happen, we need to make sure that the least amount of people get hurt as possible. So there needs to be something in place.
But I think.
But do we want to? Yeah, do we want to move on?
I think we've talked enough of this topic. I think our thoughts and prayers are with Damar, and we're hoping he gets better. But we can get to the games that all happened before this. Again, this happened at the tail end of the week too, which really just like put a really terrible note on this whole week. But some other big important games. It's hard to even say important games after that. Jeez, I feel terrible saying with the words I'm using. But we had a playoff impactful game. Between the Vikings and Packers, and I think George is going to talk a little more about that one specifically.
Yeah, this game started out hot for the Vikings. They got a 3-and-out on the Packers, went and blocked the punt. They recovered the punt. Well, actually, I think the Packers guy fell on it, but the punt was recovered at the 1-yard line. So the Minnesota Vikings had one full yard to get a touchdown within the first minute of the game. Had to kick a field goal. And that failure to score from the 1-yard line was telling of the rest of their game.
I mean, dude, I'm pretty sure there was a stat that like 3 touchdowns were scored with only 1 first down being gained between 2 teams at in the first quarter, which was crazy. But yeah, keep going. I think that just shows how crazy this game was.
The Packers in the first quarter had a defensive and a special teams touchdown. The kid Nixon that's kick returning for the Packers right now is Devin Hester-esque talented. Aaron Rodgers has gone on air multiple weeks now and just praised this kid. And teams like the Miami Dolphins on Christmas Day literally wouldn't kick him the ball. And if I'm the Lions next week, I'm kicking this ball nowhere near this kid because he looks effortless in returning these kicks. And he's making a huge difference for the Packers on special teams right now. And he's the perfect example that well-executed special teams are game-changing, especially in the NFL where these games are so tight all the time. But then Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense started heating up. Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs got a little involved. The two-headed running back tandem of Dillon and Jones, and they took off and they beat the Vikings up. And the Vikings are a 12-3 football team. What are they? 12-4.
12-4. 12-4.
They're a winning football team, but they looked so vulnerable in this game, and I can't say they're high for them in the playoffs.
I mean, let's give some credit to the Green Bay defense too. I mean, they really did just shut down the Vikings.
Jair Alexander gritted on
Jair Alexander.
Jefferson.
I think Quay Walker is their
Didn't he only have one catch?
He had a good game.
A linebacker playing out of his mind.
Jay Jettas only get one catch this week?
Yeah. No, I think he got more.
Jair Alexander gritted on him in the first quarter, like the first drive, and then gritted up the rest of the game. Played incredible.
No, and I mean, I just think this speaks to the Vikings. Like, I mean, we've had this talk before where, like, are the Vikings frauds? Like, are they actually as good as, like, you know, as, like, the record says? And, I mean, the more they play, man, it's just so hard to say that
this just feels like those 12-4 Steelers from a little bit ago.
It's the 2019 Steelers.
Like,
I mean, it really is. Like, they win games. Like, I'll give them credit for winning. Like, they win, but, like, man, they're just – when they play competition – honestly, it more reminds me of the Cardinals from last year, the second half Cardinals, when they just, like, couldn't do anything. Like, they finished, like, as, like, a – I think as, like, a wild card when they were, like, the front runner to, like, win the the NFC, and then they just collapsed.
Yeah, the Vikings collapsed. But –
hey, the later it gets in the season, though, old man Rodgers and bets like that like to show out. I gotta say.
Same thing with Tom Brady.
No, and that's
look at the Bucs. They're quote unquote hot right now.
Yeah, quote unquote. I don't know if anyone can call the Bucs hot right now.
Mike Evans had 48
it
points.
just put it. It's the same thing George said. We keep saying multiple times. Who wants to play Tom Brady next week?
No one.
Nobody wants to do that.
No one has to because they officially have a home playoff game and essentially have a bye week because they're locked into the fort. So Brady.
If the Cowboys lose to Tom Brady and the Bucs in the playoffs, that's going to be so funny. I'm so excited for it.
I have a news flash for you guys. Tom Brady's already beaten the Cowboys this year.
No, I know, but like that was like first game of the year. That could be a very deceiving game.
Now Tom Brady gets a bye week at home. He's going to go sit home, rest up, go sleep in his own bed.
He's going to put his kid between his lap like that weird picture you posted.
Oh, my gosh.
Already prepping the Cowboys.
Already prepping the Cowboys. Tom Brady should be kicked out of the league for that Instagram story.
Oh, my gosh.
He should be out. He should be out. Get him out of here. Joey had a very interesting analysis about this when I showed it to him at Disney, and he was like, this is what he's willing to post on Instagram. Think about that.
Oh my god.
That's what Tom posts for the public to see.
I don't
want dude. I don't want to think about that.
It's terrible. It is so bad. It is so bad. Tom thinks that's tame.
I'm not going. We're not going to that topic. We're just gonna let that sit there. We're not talking about that.
Favorite teams. Okay. The episode is going to be explicit marked this week. Yeah.
No, if you would have gotten me right after the game, it would have been way more explicit. I'll let George start. Oh, by the way, Nick Chubb did get over 100 yards, so I mean that's obviously why the Browns won.
Browns Commanders, for those who don't know what we're talking about. The final score, Cleveland 24, Washington 10. Deshaun Watson, 9 for 18 for $170 and 3 touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 104 on the ground with 7.4 yards average a carry. I'm sorry. If Nick Chubb's running for 100 yards on 7.4 averaging a carry, you're not beating the Browns. Amari Cooper had 2 touchdowns, and the maybe most questionable coaching decision of the year, at least according to popular media and yours truly, was starting Carson Wentz, who went in, had 3 picks, laid a goose egg in the second half, and um, James could elaborate on how terrible that was.
Oh,
But that was
I
terrible.
will. I was letting you just go, praise your Browns, but
One thing I was super happy with, and this was something I wasn't scared about it because I was confident in our secondary. We had the rookie Martin Emerson on Terry McLaurin a lot of the day, and Terry McLaurin ended the game with 2 catches for 25 yards.
yeah, I mean
So
when you put,
I am so
I mean
happy
when you put
about
Carson Wentz throwing to him, it's just what's going to happen. But
yeah, I'm not blaming Terry, but I'm also happy with the work MJ did on a Pro Bowler.
yeah, I don't know if you should take that as like a good sign, bro. Like Carson Wentz had a terrible game. If you have a terrible QB throwing you the ball, like it doesn't matter how good the receiver
I understand that, but you still, when you got your rookie corner covering a Pro Bowler, you're happy with that result nonetheless.
No,
But
it's fine.
I understand it's not necessarily Terry's fault. But
No, it's
James,
fine.
what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think overall the defense. I know they let up 24 points, but the defense played really well in the first half. They had some critical injuries before the game. Their starting corner and starting safety were both out going into the game, along with their starting middle linebacker who's been out most of the year. And they actually for those injuries, and they also had like a lot of their guys like limited in practice this week because they were coming off of injuries. So they came into this game. They played good defense at first. Then Jonathan Allen went down with a knee injury. Luckily, it's nothing serious. He's not going to play in the last game because there's no point to. But when he went down, just everything fell apart. Like he was kind of the last thing keeping the defense kind of like just on pace. At that point, they just made a lot of simple mistakes that one of the Amari Cooper touchdowns was like a 46-yard out route that should have just Amari should have been tackled out of bounds, and then he just wasn't, and then he just got a touchdown. But like I said, I'm not going to give too much blame on the defense here. I mean, it's really hard to want to play good defense the whole game when you have a QB in who literally just turns the ball over, cannot generate any offense, and just looks effing terrible. Carson Wentz looked terrible, looked awful, like George said. Threw 3 picks. I think he threw for like 163 yards, something like that. Maybe less. It was probably less. I wouldn't doubt it. And he did have a rushing touchdown, which good for him.
Them legs still working.
No, his arm's working. He stretched over the defense. I don't really know. His legs might not be working, dude. That the man cannot move. He is a statue.
I would argue that his legs are working better than his arms.
I mean, maybe, dude. Maybe, but what I'll say about the decision was this, and I said this last week that like I don't know if it's the right decision for the game, but I think in the long term, I'm not like saying it was a good decision to start Carson Wentz, right? Like obviously it was a bad decision for the game to start Carson Wentz, but the issue is that Washington made the move in the offseason to give up 2 third-round picks, and they paid him. I think it'll end up being like $26 million because I don't think Carson Wentz has earned any bonuses this year. So it'll be like $26 million instead of 28. And they needed to evaluate him. They only saw him for I think 6 games before that. They gave up capital for him. They gave up a lot of roster space for him. Ideally, if he looked good in the last 2 games, you could argue that they could have restructured his contract and paid him a low amount of money to be like an average to a good starting QB, which is what you want in the league now. If you don't have a guy on a rookie deal or like a guy like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, and so he needed a chance to prove that, and he obviously did the exact opposite, and proved why he probably should be at best a backup in the league. Dude's not good. Dude has no pocket awareness. I mean, and I'm not just gonna blame him. I mean, the O-line was bad. There was that too. The play calling was atrocious from Washington's side too. Like I don't know how that's your best effort going into like a game that like this should be your best effort. Like this is a game that like you need to win this game and the next game. You need to win the Browns and Cowboys games, and you do that, you're in the playoffs. How have you spent all week preparing and planning, and then this is the offensive performance you put out there? it was lackluster. It was piss poor. The offensive coordinator should be fired. I mean, the whole coaching staff should be fired at this point, but they won't be because I think Washington's going to get a new owner, and so they're probably just going to stick around for an extra year. But like I told George off podcast, like if Rivera and his staff, and whether he might actually fire Scott Turner, there's like rumors that he might do it. I don't know how legitimate those rumors are, but people are calling for it. And he said he's going to heavily evaluate the offense in the offseason. I said if Rivera doesn't get the 10 or 11 wins, and like if he gets 11 plus wins, I will be okay with not winning a playoff game. But if he only gets the 10 and doesn't win a playoff game, dude should be fired. Like I'm done at this point. Like he's had 7 wins for 3 straight seasons. His only playoff appearance was in a year where the NFC East was the worst division like ever. Like, I mean, the AFC South this year might be giving that record a run for its money, but like at the time, it was the worst division ever. So, yeah, it's just it was a very disappointing day. Extremely, extremely disappointing. Washington came out in a game they needed to win and looked like absolute shit on the field. That was one of the worst. This is one of the most depressing Washington games I've ever watched, just because of how much was on the line and how they had been playing up until this point. It's just depressing.
It was even like a one half of football implosion too.
That first half of football was also terrible.
It was terrible. It was terrible on both ends, to be honest.
No, yeah, like that first half of football was one of the hardest things I ever had to watch.
You went into halftime winning, and I think getting the ball at half.
No, maybe we did. We might have.
It doesn't matter. You went into half winning, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to blow another one.
Yeah, that game was ugly. That was one of the worst games I've ever watched.
Yeah. No, but we're still in it, boys. We're still alive.
Oh, we're getting to play a heartbreak 2 weeks in a row.
I'm in fear. Play Renegade all week. We needed everybody. Played it every world. Every Steelers fan across the nation. We need it everywhere. Because we need some things to happen this upcoming week. But before we get in the upcoming week, we're in the... Listen, the Steelers need less stuff than they usually do to get into the playoffs this week. So, like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but, well, you need Miami to lose and the Patriots to lose, right?
Yep.
Isn't that what needs to happen?
Yep. We need the Bills to win, which I'm hoping they could pull it out. And we need, I think the Jets are playing.
I honestly think the Jets are going to be the Dolphins.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think we have there's a good shot at this one. But before, we don't want to talk too much in the future because we got to talk about this game because I really didn't get to watch much of it. I was mostly just looking at the updates on my phone because I was at Disneyland or Disney World. I forget which one's in Florida. But I got to watch the end of this. And every game is just so good for these Steelers at the end. It's getting fun. Oh, Najee was like a possessed individual. I don't know where this man decided to start playing football today, but old Najee came back for the fourth quarter, and it was beautiful. We had some...
All 22 years old of old Najee.
Look, my point is Najee hasn't been himself this year. I think like he started showing some flashes of it, but it's very obvious that Liz Frank injury is having some lingering effects on his performance.
No, yeah, that's fair.
Jalen Warren for RB1.
And again... Just like I told you guys, we just play worse when Lamar Jackson isn't there. Like, as much as I like to joke, especially after the Pittsburgh Dad episode, everyone's always like, oh, if we had Lamar, we'd beat you. But I'd be like, oh, well, if you had Lamar, where's he at the past 5 years? Because I ain't seen him. But my point is, Lamar... These backups just find ways to do stuff to us that like Lamar, like we play these like blanket net strategies for Lamar and his running, and I think they just don't work well when you actually get a quarterback that's just running a system in there. But they almost got back into it. But I think y'all were arguing with me about this earlier too. I think once again, this game showed. Just like at the end of the Raiders game with them not calling some pretty obvious penalties. The NFL does not want Pittsburgh to succeed. And the play I'll be pointing to this week, Mark Andrews, y'all can disagree with me all you want on this, totally fumbled that ball. And so I just want to get your guys' argument on this, right? We'll try to do this quick. You guys said, I got the clip up. I could put the clip up right here if that's what we want.
I'm looking for the clip right now.
Yeah, let me YouTube. Where'd it go? Why is it not here?
I will say though, before we get into this, it is, if Matt Canada could just call the game that he calls at the end of every one of your Steelers games,
I'm telling you,
it would be incredible.
I know. We only know how to play half of football. We only know how.
Although, and I do think Kenny Pickett is showing some good stuff.
All right,
like he is actually improving.
He's picking it up too.
We should pull clips up more often.
Here's my
Are
question.
we allowed to do that?
No, probably
Are
not.
we allowed to pick up
No, we're not.
We get like 5 views. It's fine.
All right, listen. Here's my thing. Before we play it,
oh no.
what is your guys' argument here?
Let's watch them play.
No, because you don't get to change your argument once you get to see this.
I watched it once live.
So let's. What do you think giving yourself up is?
When you purposely fall to the ground.
Okay, is that it? So like if you were diving for a ball in the open field, and you fell to the ground because you dove for it, would you have given yourself up? Can you get back up and run?
There is a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a
context.
Oh, you broke up there, James. Say that again.
Ooh, might be. James is like cutting in and out, I think.
I might be losing James. Anyway, there's like a vibe is not the word I want to use, but there's a notion of when a player is giving himself up.
Okay, my point is, sure. Sure, yeah. So like, but when we refer to giving yourself up, it is like you have the ball and you dive to the ground.
It's purposefully wanting to go down.
It's not what happened. So like, for example, if you were diving in open field and you just like laid out as much as you can, and you caught it and fell down, and you stood back up, you wouldn't be down, right? The play would still be good.
No one touched you, but also if you you could display using certain actions that say you dove on the ground, you got that ball, and you just like stop and you don't attempt to immediately take off down the field. That's
okay, sure, that's fine. My point is
Mark Andrews doesn't take off down the field or anything. He gets up and to go to hand the ball to the ref.
Well, can you just go hand the ball to the ref whenever you want and that's play over? So like if Najee Harris is running down the sideline and he sees a ref on the field and he goes to him and to hand the ref the ball, is the play over?
Mark Andrews was down. So if Najee Harris is running down the sideline of the field and then ball is down, purposefully, doesn't trip, doesn't get hit.
But if he trips, if Najee Harris is running down the field, trips on his foot, gets up and hands the ball to the ref.
I think that's how the referees would rule it.
All right, let's watch this play now. He doesn't even run back to the guy.
He was going to give. He has the ball extended out like this.
My point is, he catches the ball while he's falling forward. He doesn't dive. He is falling forward because Huntley throws the ball in front of him.
I hate to say we need audio. Did the refs blow their whistle? That's the most important thing.
All right.
And I don't know if you could even hear the whistles.
You probably
can. Huntley throws it quick. Andrews got a first down. He goes down. Then tries to get back up. He was trying to give himself
no whistle. No, there's the whistle.
And we've got a mess on our hands.
That is a fumble.
Yeah. And then the ref. He was getting up. I mean, you agree that it was a fumble? Is that what you're agreeing with, George?
When there's no whistle blowing on the play is not over. That's what you're taught in football.
Yeah,
he
but
gets
then you
up,
can review it, and it was reviewed and ruled not a fumble.
But my point,
the ref's decision was correct. I'm not gonna step off this.
But my point,
won off an interception 2 plays later. It did not matter at all.
I don't care if it mattered in the end or not. If the whistle's not blown, the play's live.
That's fine. But my point is
they reviewed it and then they determined it wasn't a fumble
because they said that what. Let me.
The ruling on the field is the runner gave you up and down.
The ruling on the field was that he gave himself up. Did that look like he gave himself up, George? That's my point. The NFL can rule whatever they want on it. Mark Andrews did not give himself up in that play.
You could hear the announcers immediately say, oh, he's giving himself up, or whatever the verbiage they used was.
Well, it was very obvious that he I agree. Once he got back up, it was very obvious he was attempting to give the ball back to the ref.
Yeah, and that's giving yourself up. If you're
no.
Giving
yourself up is going to the ground.
Yeah, he went to the ground. He touched the ground. You can see all of his body on the ground.
But
and he got up.
Did he do that on purpose, James?
Yes, he was getting down, Nider. If he caught the ball standing up, he would then go down and then get up and give the ball to the ref.
But
that's what you do in that situation.
Sure.
I think he was trying to give himself up. Yes. Do I think...
By the rule of giving yourself up, you have to purposely make a slide. James, that's what I was saying earlier. If you catch a ball in midair and you fall to the ground and you get back up, you are not down. It doesn't matter that you fell to the ground. Nobody touched you. If you get back up,
if you get back up and run forward, or you're running, or like you are doing, I don't know what the correct verbiage is, but like you are making an action while possessing the football to attempt forward.
He ran direct. I mean, my point is he ran
backwards. He ran backwards. He didn't run forwards.
Huntley throws it quick. Andrews got a first down. He goes down.
He didn't get to run at all. He literally didn't run.
He got up and was turning the other way.
First down, he goes down.
For the sake of time, we need to move off of this.
He didn't even turn. Again, Minka was right on him. He got back up.
Dude, you can look at him. I've watched it. You can look at him starting to turn, which is turning back toward the line.
Do I think he gave himself up? Yes. Do I think, according to the NFL rulebook, that's a fumble? Yes.
Listen, I think he gave himself up. It ended up not being a factor at all. But
sure, but what if it did? My point is am I allowed to be angry? Am I allowed to be angry about that if we lost that game?
I mean, you can be angry about it, but it's the right call. You can be angry about a good call. That's fine.
My point
You're
is,
allowed to be angry about a good call.
It's just no. Again, it's the as much as we want to disagree on it, it's very obvious the NFL let's look at Jesse James's catch against the Patriots. We could look at tons of stuff there against the Steelers. They don't want us to succeed, but we can get to the next game.
I mean, I think any team in the NFL can have a reel of specific things that happen to them that shows oh, the NFL hates us.
Well, that's my point. The NFL's rigged for everybody. I agree.
This is what we're gonna do, because we have 15 minutes. We're gonna run through this.
Well, I mean, we can go to 11-10. That's fine.
Okay, well, we got 25 minutes. We're going to run through this next game quickly. We're going to talk playoff picture. We're going to talk next games quickly. Okay. And then we're going to get to our bets.
All right. Jags, I don't think there's much to talk about because our boys just absolutely smacked them.
Destroyed them.
Duval. Just for the boys. It's not as coordinated.
The boys.
31-3 over the Texans. 3 guys had rushing touchdowns for the Jags. They got it going on the ground this week. With Etienne, Michael Hasty, and my boy, Snoop Connor out of Ole Miss, the rookie, got a touchdown on the ground. I loved seeing that. Snoop Connor in college, dude, little wrecking ball. I love seeing that he's on a team getting NFL touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence didn't have his best game. Didn't throw for too many yards, no touchdowns and a pick, but when you're running the ball and you're winning 31-3, just...
You don't throw the ball. You don't throw it.
Hey,
yeah, you don't need to.
Duval, they also got a defensive touchdown. So the defense only allowed 3 points. I know it's the Texans, but they got a defensive touchdown.
The Texans aren't a joke.
I kind of have a hot take. I think the Bears are going to end up with the first pick.
I think they will too, actually.
I think they will too.
But I think it doesn't matter because I think the Bears are going to draft the defensive player. So the Texans will still get the first pick.
They're going to draft a weapon for Justin. I think they're going to go all in on Justin.
Nah, I think the 2 defensive guys at the top of the draft are too good.
They're bringing JSN to Chicago. Let's make it happen. All right, but that's all we need for that Duval game. What a game!
Yeah, what a game! They have great momentum going into the last game of the year. playoff implications.
All right.
Go Jackson.
Here's just another example of the NFL being screwy, I think, going into our breaking news though. I don't mind starting the playoff talks. Have you guys seen the scheduling issue between the Seahawks, Lions, and Packers? Have you guys heard of this? I could explain it pretty quickly, I think.
I think the Packers Lions is like the last game,
Yeah.
and then Seattle's before them, right?
So Seattle plays at 4:00 on Sunday, and the Lions play the Packers at 8:00 on Sunday. For the Seahawks to go to the playoffs, they need to win their game. So they're obviously going to try to win their game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they need the Lions to win. The issue is, if the Seahawks win, the Lions are eliminated.
The Lions are still going to play their hearts out.
I don't know.
I think the result of that Seahawks, well, because they don't want. Here's the thing.
I agree. The winning season is
The
important.
Lions do not want the Packers going to the playoffs. Those are like their arch rivals. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers has beat up on the Lions for over a decade.
Yeah,
Do the Packers go to the playoffs though?
Yeah,
The Packers
if they
win
beat
their
the
game.
Lions, yeah.
If they
Packers
beat
are
the
winning.
Lions.
Packers are
I do think Dan Campbell is the type of coach though that would just be like, all right, guys, I know we got eliminated, but let's go fuck these guys up right now and show why we're better. I could 100% see him going in
Also,
with that.
the Packers and the Lions have been beefing on social media this week in like different interviews.
Mhm.
Like Aaron Rodgers said some stuff. Jamal Williams said some stuff. Jamal Williams was a Packer.
Well,
for a
that's what
number of
I'm
years.
just sort of worried they're talking it up just for them to go through it.
No, I mean, also you got to remember, like the Lions, like when they had nothing to play for last year, like went out and beat the Packers. So like, I think the Lions are more than capable of like playing everyone and trying to beat the Packers.
That night game is going to be played hard by both teams, undoubtedly.
So I'm trying to think of other stuff that comes into question though. We've already gone over the Steelers playoff line a little bit. So we don't need to
Here,
go-
before we continue, there's a breaking news on Damar Hamlin. Positive update.
Okay, good.
The Bills say safety Damar Hamlin has shown remarkable improvement and appears to be neurologically intact as lungs continue to heal. So great news there.
Mm-hmm.
Great news.
Yeah. I've only heard positive.
That's all I've
Yeah,
heard. as well.
hopefully he continues to improve. That's all we can hope.
My big wonder with that is whether or not it was football related. Did the football contact cause that, or what?
I mean, there's a specific injury. I think it's like called cardoid cordosis or something like that, where like if an object hits a specific part of your chest when your heart is at the peak of its beat at a specific point in time at a specific speed,
and that's what
your heart will just stop. And they haven't said that's what it is. It's a more common injury to see in like hockey or baseball or like soccer.
Mhm.
But I think they're saying that's what it is. But it is possible he had underlying heart issues.
Well,
I mean, we don't really
that's sort
know.
of what I'm wondering. Is it's just like
And I-
my
and I'm
aunt's
just spitballing
heart
that
just
that could
freaks
even be
out
a thing.
randomly. And
Yeah.
it's
That was-
that's not the big issue though. We
yeah,
just wanted to
but-
be
But yeah, I'm not a medical professional. Obviously, I'm just going off of what I've read, and we don't know. So like, yeah, it could be something completely different than what anyone has talked about online, or like any medical expert has like proposed. But I just wanted to give that update. I think it's important. We talked about it for a lot of the show.
Yeah,
So-
and I don't want to speculate on it either.
Okay, all right, but we've got
NFC playoff picture. I'll run down this real quick.
okay.
Switch over to the NFC. The 1 seed is up for grabs. It could be one of 3 teams. It could be the 49ers, it could be the Eagles, or it could be the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, with a win this week over Washington and an Eagles loss versus the Giants, are the 1 seed. 49ers need a win and an Eagles and a Cowboys loss. I don't see that happening. The Vikings, I think, are all but locked into that 3 seed, unless the only way they can move up is a 49ers loss and they win. I don't see the 49ers losing to the Cardinals, so it looks like we're going to have Minnesota, in all probability, because the Giants have nothing to play for, they're locked into the 6th seed. In all probability, it looks like we're going to have Eagles 1, 49ers 2, Vikings 3, Buccaneers 4, Cowboys 5, Giants 6, and then, as we just talked about, that 7th spot is extremely up for grabs. Packers are winning in. They win against the Lions, they're in. Lions need help. Lions need a win and a Seahawks loss. The Seahawks need a win and a Packers loss. So that spot is very much up for grabs. I'm pulling for the Lions and head coach Dan Campbell. But whoever wins that 7 seed will be traveling most likely out to San Francisco. The New York Giants look like they're going to be heading to Minnesota for a rematch from a few weeks ago that went down to a game-winning field goal. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are going to be heading to Tampa Bay for a revenge game from Week 1. So, that's the playoff pick.
And this is sort of the thing, though, looking over to the AFC now. I see a lot of things that especially matter, especially with this game suspension, given that the 2 and 3 is a 1 game apart between the 2 teams that got suspended.
I think that barring a Chiefs win, the NFL's not going to really do anything about this, because if the Chiefs win this week against the Raiders, they would have been the 1 seed anyway.
Yeah, but that's my point. But
now,
I guess my question is like, the Bills are playing a team that I need them to beat this week, and so if it is decided that they aren't playing that, does that mean the Bills can't go up?
all signs point to the Bills are playing football this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the Bills are probably going to have to play.
They're playing football this week.
Okay.
The big thing is, here's the only contention in that top part. If the Bengals would have won that game, they would have bumped to 2. And the 2 seed's a huge advantage. Because if the 1 seed happens to go down, then you have the home field through the entire playoffs. In the last year, both won, lost immediately in the divisional round.
Well, the other issue, though, is that, like, the Bills were the 1 seed before this hell happened. So, like...
No, Chiefs were the 1 seed.
The Chiefs played earlier in the day. The Bills had the tiebreaker at the same record.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
the Bills were the 1, and then the Chiefs won, so they were just in the 1.
That's my point. It really affects playoff stuff.
I propose this in my own head. I'll put it up there. I think it should go by win percentage in the AFC for these spots. Just because there's not an even number of games played, they'll do that in the MLB sometimes. If there's just games they never got to make up.
Yeah, but that only works in the MLB because there's 100 games. Like, there's like 6.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll stay the same.
You think the Chiefs will get the 1?
That's what. But that's what I'm worried about, is if the Chiefs already have the 1 locked.
No, they don't.
They don't have it. They don't have it locked, but like
The
they're gonna
Bills
have
were the
one extra
one
game.
Who plays first?
Chiefs
Let me
play on
look.
Saturday.
The Chiefs do.
Oh my! But this is what I'm saying. If the Chiefs win and they aren't playing that game, do the Bills play football?
Yes, because they start trying to get that 2 then.
Can the Bengals catch them?
Yes.
Well, no, because they're 11 and 4. So even if they win,
A Bills loss and a Bengals win.
they're tied. Who has the tiebreaker?
Probably.
It would go by division. So whoever has the most division wins, which would be
Low.
yeah, Buffalo has 1 more division win than Cincinnati.
But this is my point.
But that could change because
If the Chiefs win, do the Bills play football?
Buffalo's going to play football this week.
I hope so. I want them to. Don't get me wrong.
well, they would, because if the Bengals if the Bengals won that game and then the Bills lost, they would be tied. Then the
In
next
division.
and in terms of division, because
Yeah, they'd have the same record, and
then from there we go to conference record, and that would also be tied. If that happened.
No.
So, that would also be tied.
all NFL playoff tiebreakers.
I don't know what the next tiebreaker is. I actually have no idea.
All right, so it's head to head, and then best
which
in
would be
division.
Buffalo. Yeah. Okay.
Conference strength of victory is the next one. What does that mean?
I think that means strength of schedule.
No,
Like,
because strength of schedule's next.
Oh wait.
Strength of
Then-
victory. So I'm guessing it's just strength of schedule for the games you won, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. That would then. But wait, they both beat the Chiefs.
Well, this is funny now that I'm just looking at it, so I'm going to keep going. So it's strength of victory and then strength of schedule.
I'm reading an article right now by DraftKings. This came out 18 hours ago, and said that their strength of victory is so close that it would probably be completely determined by the outcome of the Week 18 games.
Oh my fucking god!
No way. This is what I'm saying. I'm so confused. But get this. So after that, it's strength of schedule. And then it's best combined ranking among conference teams in points scored and points allowed.
Oh, that would go to the Bills because they're
Okay.
like plus 147 and the Bengals are like plus 80.
If you get all the way down to the 12th one, it's literally coin toss.
I mean, the NFL did come out and say like they're looking at possibly as like an outcome for the Bills Bengals game instead of like having them replay it. They
Give
might
them a
just
tie.
They might just have a random number generator.
What?
Or like a coin flip and then give one team the win and the other one the loss.
What?
That is...
Ew.
What?
Ew. I'd literally rather have Josh Allen and Joe Burrow like come play rock paper scissors.
Neither. That is the 12th tiebreaker that you said. It's a coin flip.
Yeah, but I would much rather just be like the QBs doing rock paper
You gotta
scissors.
do like a Pro Bowl style quarterback throwing challenge where I feel like throw the ball in the moving nets.
Yeah, we make a big day out of it.
Um,
Oh wait, we make both teams suit up for the game, and they do the quarterback challenge like 30 minutes before the game to determine which team's playing in the playoffs.
this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna move on from this conversation because we're running out of time and we're just speculating. And I'm gonna finish up wrapping up the last wild card spot. No, there's a couple things in the AFC still. First, the AFC South. Whoever wins Titans Jaguars is in. The loser's out. It's like really that. The Jaguars actually, in a crazy world, could get the last wild card spot as well. But that would require a Steelers, a Patriots, and a Miami loss.
Wait, they could still be in and lose? That's incredible.
Steelers get the last spot with a win, and then a Buffalo win over New England, and a Jets win over Miami.
Which is all possible. It's all possible.
The Patriots are winning it, but they play the Bills.
Yeah, that's a...
Dolphins need a Patriots loss and a win over the Jets.
Yeah, you guys will make a quick prediction for the 7 seeds? See who gets in the 7. Because
I'm telling you, my boys are in it.
I
We're
think it's
making
going
it.
to be the Jets.
Yeah, I feel like it is too, to be honest.
Telling you, it's
I
gonna
hate
be
it
the
so
Steelers.
much, but it's gonna happen.
We're going in. Kenny
All right.
Pickett, rookie season.
A nice transition to this is Steelers game next week versus the Browns.
Let me tell you.
Yep.
This is.
Because-
Nighter.
I've always said, there's one thing the Steelers can handle. It's a quarterback with settlements. Come to Acrisure, George. I dare you. Come to the shore. In Pittsburgh, I think we locked this down. Renegade will be playing the whole time. You will have no chance. They better bring Wiz Khalifa back out again. That's all I'm saying. I want all the stops put into this game.
So
I want
I'm
Franco Harris buried at center field. I want everything. We need it all.
So if the Browns were to win this game, it would be the first time since like the 1980s we've swept the Steelers. It would be the first time since somewhere in the 1900s that we placed higher than the Steelers in the AFC North rankings.
Can you?
It would be the first time Mike Tomlin has a losing record. We would also then place ourselves in front of the Steelers, which would mean a game against the Las Vegas Raiders next year in Vegas, which would be a cool place to go watch a football game. So there is some crazy statistics and some crazy implications on this game for the Cleveland Browns.
I can't even believe we made it back to 500. I cannot.
So, Schneider, prediction. I know what you're going to predict.
I think if it's a close game, I'm worried. But I think our defense can stop you. I really do. I like to imagine that we should be able to stop you.
Did an okay job of stopping us in the first game.
That's my point. It's just like, again, it's like James said in his analysis. If Matt Canada could just take that back quarter of his playbook and just stretch it out a little bit.
Just make that the entire playbook. And it would be incredible.
If we hand the ball to Nick Chubb 17 to 22 times, you're screwed.
Steelers run D is good, though. Steelers run D is good. I have faith. Ogunjobi is eating things up in the middle. Watt and Highsmith are holding things down on the outside, and we've got Hayward in there too. Like, we've got a scary big front. Like, I love looking at like the Steelers' names on the front. Like, Ogunjobi has just been like the little cherry on top this year. I feel like he's really picked it up, and yeah. I've had a good time watching our D. The thing I'm worried about, I don't know if it's any long term because he came back in, but Minka went down for a little bit in that game with an injury, and so did Deontay. We had some noticeable injuries that I don't know if they were long term or not, but if the Steelers aren't healthy, like, we've got Steven Sims at backup receiver.
Hey,
like,
Steven Sims is a beast. Bro. Don't hate on Steven Sims. Don't hate on my boy.
I like him. He just he likes to drop punts. He really does.
It could be worse. I've seen worse.
My prediction: Browns win in not so thrilling fashion.
No,
after going up 3 late.
No,
Miles Garrett gets a sack. You get behind on the chains. You get a turnover on downs, and Nick Chubb runs the clock out. That's exactly how.
I agree. I don't think Kenny does 3. I don't think Kenny does 3 comebacks in a row. I think there are 2 options here. I think the Steelers are going to win this game by 10, or I think we're going to give you like 3 special teams touchdowns, and we're going to get dicked.
The Browns' defense and special teams has been playing out.
That like I'm telling you, we are either gonna we should win this game handily, I think, but it is very obvious we hand you like 3 turnovers very early, and we just don't play football the rest of the day.
James, give us the 2-minute update for who your Commanders are playing next week.
This won't take 2 minutes. They're playing Dallas. Dallas is something to play for. Washington doesn't. They're playing like half their starters. Sam Howell's playing. Sam Howell's getting the official start. He's playing the whole game.
I'm excited to see that. I want to see.
That's like the only reason this game actually I'm excited to see. I don't think I'll be real. I don't think he does anything crazy. Like I mean, he's playing one of the best defenses in the NFL, but maybe he will. I could have hope. It's all I have at this point. I have nothing else for this team. So if he performs average, that would be awesome. But like I said, I'm not expecting much from this game. They could get blown out. I just want Sam Howell to get some reps and, at least so we can see what we have, because technically he's the only QB we have signed to the roster next year. I want them to re-sign Heineke, but we'll see if that happens. We also have a rookie guard that's going to be playing for the first time this year, Chris Paul on the left side. And they've been saying a lot of good things about him all year, but he hasn't been active. They've been kind of like taking a developmental approach with him. So he'll get some reps too, which I'm excited for. But yeah, this game means nothing. It's meaningless. Dallas is going to play really hard because they have something to play for. And I would love if Sam Howell beat Dallas in his first ever career start, but I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll probably get slammed. I mean, if Washington loses by less than 20, I think I'll be happy.
All right, Duval is playing Tennessee on Saturday Night Football. Winner.
I believe in Jacksonville. I believe in them.
I'm riding Duval all the way to the playoffs. Tennessee is starting my boy Joshua Dobbs at quarterback. I love Josh Dobbs. I was so sad when we cut him for Kellen Mond this offseason. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous.
Josh Dobbs plays hard.
He plays hard. He's a game manager. He's athletic. He's experienced. He's a smart QB.
Dude, he's like an aerospace engineer. He has a degree in aerospace engineering.
One problem. He's throwing the ball to absolutely nobody.
Hey, Treylon Burks exists as like the 7th or 8th best rookie receiver in the class.
Yeah, just after Chris Olave, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Alec Pierce.
Jahan Dotson. I mean, Jahan Dotson might be one of the best of this class.
So I'm riding Duval all the way. I think they can control every aspect of the game. Give me Duval.
I mean, I do worry about Henry a little bit. Like, Derrick Henry is obviously a factor. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, yeah, like, Jacksonville, like, or Tennessee has no chance. Like, Derrick Henry can win a game on his own. But I believe in Trevor Lawrence, the boy. I believe in Zay Jones and Christian Kirk. I never thought I'd say that. And ETN, their line's been playing well. Their defense has been playing a lot better, like Georgia said. Yeah, go Jacksonville, baby. Snyder, you got anything else to add?
I'm telling you, I think the Titans are bad, and I think the Jaguars are good. And I think when we decided on this team, we knew what we were doing, because I think this team is going all the way. I think they're going to the playoffs, and I think they're even going to win a couple of playoff rounds. I'm going to be honest. I think so. I think Trevor Lawrence makes a big name for himself this postseason as a household quarterback.
I'll be real. They probably would play the Ravens in the first round, and I could see them winning that game. I could see them winning that game.
And I'm even telling you more, especially if Lamar comes back. Telling you.
We can get into that a different day. All right, let's some picks out here, boys.
Yes, we'll get James's picks first. We'll
I do it first. All right.
We'll let you get him first, just so we can get you out of here. We know you got to rush, James.
All right. My first pick. Give me Texans plus 2.5.
Whoa.
I love it.
Who are they playing again?
They're playing the Colts, dude.
Bears are getting the number 1 pick, guys.
I just have faith. I shouldn't have faith, but I do.
Can I just mark that one green now?
Yeah, might as well, dude. At this point, let's see. Oh God, the Dallas line currently is only -5.5. Give me Dallas -5.5. God.
I have it from ESPN at 7. I was going to take that too, but what do we want to put it at?
Okay, I mean, I have it on CBS. I mean, you could.
I'm on CBS too. Let's keep it at. I'm down to.
I'll keep it at 5.5.
Let's see.
I mean, that's such a.
That might turn into my money lock.
Oh, it's at 7. It's at 7 now for me on CBS too.
Oh, what the? Oh wait, let me refresh my CBS. That's weird. Let me refresh that and see. Cowboys, Washington. Yeah, it's still all right. Wait, I gotta freaking look up these picks on other. I was just using the app. Okay. Reds.
No worries.
Let me look up another freaking And I'm just trying to find it. I might just go on ESPN. Guys, we're just going on ESPN. Okay, so I have 2, right?
Yeah.
So I'll take Dallas at 7. That's fine. Yep. I take it there too. Let's see. I don't know if I like that game. Give me the. Let's see. Give me the Jets -1.
Okay.
And yeah, fuck it. They've been good to me this year. Give me Jacksonville -6.
All right.
And then do you want me to get my money lock?
Yeah, let's get your lock. We'll get James's lock here.
Yeah, my money lock is Seattle -6.
All right, James. Thank you for your picks. If you've got a skedaddle, we understand.
It's been a pleasure, boys. This is gonna be funny because I'm gonna have no idea what. I know one of George's picks just because he praised my one, so I know George is gonna take the Texans pick too.
I won't lie, you took a couple of my picks.
Oh, did I? I mean, dude, I literally did this on the fly. So, but yeah, I'll probably do better now that I actually didn't put any thought into it and I just looked quickly. But yeah, peace out.
All right,
Peace out, boys.
See ya. All right, so that makes it for me now. That makes it for me. And this is going to be an interesting game to decide on here. But I think my first one, give me... I'm going to take... this is a weird game for me. I'm not 100% confident in it. I don't think it matters. Give me New Orleans minus 3.5.
Who are they even playing?
The Panthers. This game doesn't... This isn't impactful, It's a low-stakes game. But someone I do want to take here that I don't necessarily usually take. See, the thing is, I don't even want him to win. But I just think it's going to happen. Give me Green Bay minus 4.5.
It's a good bet.
I just think it's going to happen. I feel bad. Another one I'm looking at here, which I am very surprised is this close. Part of me wants to pick it, but I'm not.
Do it then. You still got 3 picks.
No, I know. Give me Baltimore plus 7.
Who they playing?
Cincy.
Oh.
I don't want Cincy to win this game. Or do I?
I hate saying this because of the implications of how it happened, but Cincy kind of just got a bye week.
And then my normal pick though, my last one, I think I have to go with it just because I don't believe in this spread. Give me Cardinals plus 14.5.
Dude, I looked at that one long and hard.
I know. I look at this 14.5 spread and I can't. I can do my lock. I've got my lock. I don't think you're gonna steal my lock.
Go ahead.
You definitely ain't stealing my lock. What am I saying?
Your lock. It's gonna be Steelers.
It is Pittsburgh. It's dang gone near me. Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Because my boys need it, and I need it. Going all in. Let's hear them, Georgie.
All right. Well, this is kind of funny because I have some quite different picks than you this week on some same games.
All right, let's see it.
I'm starting with my 2 picks that aren't in the same games as you. Give me Dallas minus 7.
Yep.
Give me Jaguars minus 6 versus Tennessee.
All right.
Those are the 2
So
games
you just took me and James's bets. Okay, I see. Or I guess you're betting against me.
Oh, I didn't take any of yours.
No. You're betting against me. That's right.
All right, now I'm betting against you. Give me Lions plus 4.5 versus the Pack.
That's going to be a fun game to watch, I think.
Give me Panthers plus 3.5 versus
Ooh.
the Saints. I like that one a lot, actually. And my lock of the week, give me the Browns.
No way. Ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happening, George. Sadly, Cleveland's season is already over. It's gonna keep being over. Steelers getting that dub.
I'm riding it. I'm putting.
Are we going? Are we going? What? I think I'm gonna try to make it down. The tickets are gonna be crazy.
Let's go look real quick.
Yeah,
we're live on air.
Yeah.
Go look at some tickets.
We'll get some length on this episode.
We can keep going for a couple minutes. I don't care.
Steelers tickets.
I'm working Vivids. Cheapest ticket is $71. Wow.
That's actually not bad. I thought it was going to be way worse. Down at the Shore. Oh, that's on... What day is it on? It says it's on Saturday at 3:30 a.m. What? What is this listing?
What?
When did
What
the
do you
Steelers...
want?
When do we play?
You play Sunday at 1.
Oh, okay. I was going to say... All right. I think we can wrap the podcast up here, though, you know. Another short episode. Again, thoughts and prayers with Damar. We're going to try to find a link to his charity and all that. We'll get that down in there. At the end of the day, though...
I'm going to go donate. I think, actually, I got a fantasy football league where we're at least donating part of the profits from the league to the charity. So
No, it's
I'm happy to see that.
yeah, no, and a big thing too. Anyone who is interacting with our videos, we do appreciate it. We aren't seeing that steady growth, and honestly, it's gonna be my fault. George's probably gonna yell at me. I didn't talk about it yet. I didn't get the episode up on like Spotify and stuff last week because I was in Florida, and I'm having a big issue because of how big the files are with the video when we do it live, like actually uploading them and converting it. So I'm trying to figure stuff out for it.
How do you do it? I mean, we could keep recording this. Who cares? How do you do it when we're like doing it like this? That makes it easier.
It's just.
I wanted a podcast one day,
So that it's easier is that it's just like on my PC, and so when I do it on my laptop, I don't have my video editing software on it, so I have to upload it to Google. That takes forever, and I upload it here, and sometimes when I do that, the file gets all messed up. We don't need to get into all that. The big thing is when I record it here, it's just here already, and then I just go convert it. And also, when we do it live, it's like the whole screen is always video, whereas on Discord, like, most of our screen is just black when we do it like this,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, that's where we're going to wrap things up today. Like, follow, subscribe, and all that things, and remember to go donate to Damar's charity if you're able to. But we're wrapping things up here. Hopefully we have a good week at the end. I just want some good football. I really would love to see my Steelers in, obviously, but I really just want to see some good games. No crazy injuries like we had last week. That's all I want. And so, with those positive wishes, we're going to sign things off. Ciao.
Yeah, everyone.